welcome to another episode of 1878 United Fan Zone. Glazers, more cuts. Well, honestly, to be honest, I wasn't expecting this with the amount of cuts that they've done already. But yeah, it was pretty shocking to me. And then obviously this is our first show. So Everton 2, Manchester United 2. We'll touch on that as well today. Mikey, do you want to start off with anything today?
Yes, I want to start off with our sponsor, 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝙀 LLP, located in the great Sherman Oaks, California. And I think they're getting a new building, but the address for right now is 4730 𝗕𝗓𝙍 Ave, site 405 in Sherman Oaks, California, 91423. And the number for them is 747-444-4444. They got auxiliary health services, health and injury, disability, 97% success rate with all cases, man. So if you got a case, you bring it to them, there's a good chance you going to win, all right? Don't kill nobody. But personal law and legal services, 𝗕𝗓𝙍𝙀 LLP, Ike, 𝗕𝗓𝙍, all them man there. Shouts to y'all.
And then I've been away for a couple of days. I see you have another announcement to make there, Mikey.
Yes. So, shouts to Casey, and we have changed our name from 1878 United Fan Zone to Stateside Reds. We love the 1878. 1878 is history. United Fan Zone was me and Sean's thing, and we kind of combined the 1878 casuals and that we combined it. But I wanted something that sounded a little more fluid. So now we are the Stateside Reds, representing the United States of America, all coasts. All right. Represent LA, Pittsburgh, ATL, and anybody else that wants to be a part of this thing. We are the Stateside Reds. SSR, man.
Nice. Yeah, I like it. I like the new badge. Did a good job on that one.
I just stole it from you, man. I'm just following you, brother.
Did you just change the name at the top?
I used the same like Canva back thing, and I just deleted all of it. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll touch on the layoffs. So another 200 to 250 layoffs. Also taking away their food in the canteen for the staff. But I've got to touch on something that was said on Sky Sports News today. I sent it to you. Over $1 billion lost in the last 19 years under the Glazers. It really hit home how I know Ineos, and we both disagree on some things, that Ineos are doing some things good, they're doing some things bad. But it's really driving home how hard their job is right now. It really is driving how hard it is. I believe when they took over, the Glazers took over, they took a loan out against Manchester United for $650 million. We're now over $700 million in debt because of that, because they've paid off $1 billion. Well, no, $800 million in just fees,
right,
without paying off any of Manchester United's debt. I get the Ineos out. Ineos is destroying Man United. Some people, that's what they're saying. But what else can they do if they can't put any more of their own money into Manchester United until June? For me, it's now like at that point now where it's like, I gotta cut jobs or we're going bust. It really does hammer home how much the Glazers have destroyed Manchester United.
Yeah, so as I said in the chat, man, it's a culmination of things. It's the Glazer neglect, like you said. It's just over a crazy amount of spending for players. And the main thing, from what I've seen from all the experts, so there's a couple things. What I've seen from all the experts is the exorbitant amount of money we've spent on players has been the issue, right?
Yeah.
Like giving 100 to Pogba, giving Lukaku this money that he got and then not staying. Like, we got guys aren't playing at the club, we're paying their wages still. We still owe them money and they're not here anymore. They haven't been here for years, right? We have guys that have moved on playing at other teams now that are still getting a wage, and we've gotten them off the bill, of course, but we're still paying them for inactivity. That's not That's not business wise. It's a terrible thing. We have to do it, but it's awful. And these are just the results of bad, just letting the bankers run this club for so long and not putting together an actual football mind that can bring in the players, that can structure up um, our scouting departments and all these other things. That's what's really killed us in the last few years. But the thing, what I would have to say is with the job situation is this much, right? Because I
Yeah.
understand that you have to cut the fat, and I understand, but here's what happens now. There's a thing called like the doorman fallacy,
Yeah.
right? And the doorman fallacy essentially is like when you see a doorman, you think all he does is open doors. So as a businessman, you're like, oh well, we could just get revolving doors. We don't need a man to open the door at a hotel. We could just get a revolving door. The problem with that is the doorman is more than a doorman. The
Yep.
doorman does 1,000 other things. He's essentially another concierge before you meet the concierge inside, right? So you end up losing money. What they saw was they end up losing money when they installed the doors because the customer satisfaction went down. That's going to happen with Man United when you cut this many people at one time. I understand that you have to wait and you have to see what's going on. And like this is a thing that has to be waiting. It's a wait and see process to see how much money is going to go. So you can't make a definitive call on it yet. But it's going to happen when you over it. When you put too much redundancy in one place and then you cut it, like kind of like what Elon's doing now. You're gonna see how defunct or how bad things can be run.
Yeah.
And we had the third lowest wage bill as far as common workers. So it didn't necessarily have to be done this way, but hey, I'm not in business. I'm not in. I was in business for a while. I had people that I work for or it worked for me. Had my own business for a little bit, and sometimes you got to cut. It always sucks to cut people. It always sucks. It's now. I'm never gonna be in favor of that.
Yeah. No, I'm not in favor of obviously you know, cutting the cutting the staff or cutting the food for the staff. Even though the grilled cheese and tomato soup did look pretty good though.
Cut it. Yeah, that's. It's like that kind of bothers me. It's like we're talking about food here. We're
Yeah,
talking about food, like
yeah.
food that people are gonna use, like at a job where like you're gonna be working however long. You can
But
stop and
does
get
that
your
not
son to
worry
eat.
you though of how bad the finances are?
Oh, 100%.
Like that we're having to
100%.
cut food for the staff.
Yeah, 100%. And I understand that like it's a result of these things. My thing is, what can we do to the aim needs to be to replacing these things back. Like we need to hire people. We don't want to be run bare bones. We
Hmm.
want to be a service in the community to give jobs, right? We get our money from the community first,
Yeah.
right? The first people that buy are people in Manchester. They're the ones who are going to get, right? So we need to be able to have our thing. Like, then it's like stupid shit like, oh, we're going to cut the disability fund from 40 to 20. Like, how does that exponentially? Okay, you save 20,000. That's cool.
Hmm.
I know with a bunch of all this other stuff, it's gonna kind of make sense, but we have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Of like, you got to wait and see now because like the more cuts that they're making and the minimal cuts that they're making, like the food is really worrying me with United. And it's worrying me be able to go forward and being competitive further down the line.
Yeah,
I've talked in the last couple of weeks about the players going out, the amount of money that will be able to come in June, um, due to it being a new financial year. Um, but it's like we got to get there until June. And it is kind of worrying me regarding that. It's just I never imagined Man United being so broke that they would
yeah.
have to cut food. And it makes it worse because of last week the Glazers said they have no interest in selling.
He said no.
Yeah, yeah, no, like he's
I
got
mean, of
no
course,
interest.
he's not gonna say it to the media. He's
No.
not gonna say, "Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna sell. We're thinking about it." Like he'll never say that.
Well,
Um,
the stock has gone to the lowest it's been in a long time. It's $14.50 share right now, which is the lowest it's been in almost a year now. So something's going on. They
I sold mine when they they announced that they were part of the Super League. I sold it the same day.
How
I didn't
much you
make
get?
anything for it.
Yeah,
I didn't make anything. I
yeah,
probably made like $30.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it's like it's pretty bad. Jordan saying Sir Jim is trying to recover years of robbery and neglect. It's not his fault anymore. Who is blaming him needs to look at the bigger picture, and that's what we're doing. But it's hard to do that at the same time when so many job cuts are happening because it's a catch-22. You know, everyone's saying he's ruining Man United, but is he the one ruining Man United? Is he the one that's trying to fix Man United? And some people just don't understand how bad it is behind the curtain, and they're just trying to shift the blame onto him. And I'm gonna say this: it's a master tactician from the Glazers here. We all knew it was going to happen, that if it went belly up, Ineos was going to take the blame, and Glazers were going to sit back and go, "Well,
Yeah, they're fall guys.
thought you said it was bad under us." But and there's the reports out there, like I don't know how true it is, that the Glazers can sell Man United in a couple of months without Ineos and
Yep,
sell Ineos' shares.
yep.
So like that wouldn't surprise me if it happened. Um, we aren't gonna be fixed as a squad until summer 26 at least. And then Sanjeev is saying saw that after the job.
We retracted it.
He retracted it. I'm sure he'll put it back in, but yeah, it is kind of worrying on both ends. I don't think the Glazers have any. I don't think they're going to sell. Not until the 2030s at least. I think they're waiting for the new. They see the idea of the stadium and the surrounding area, and they're like, oh, money, 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 money.
Either they get an offer that they can't refuse, right? That's gonna surpass whatever they can make in the next 10 years with the new stadium included,
Mm-hmm.
and then this rebuild and the regeneration project, or they keep it and wait for the stadium thing, and their balls in their court, and it always has been.
Yeah,
But the thing is with Ineos, I need to always say is that they're not doing themselves any favors, right? They're
yeah.
they're just not. And a part of business, you got to be the bad guy, but like there's certain things that they said they've done, they just moved really bad, and then like it doesn't help that we're not doing well.
Yeah.
The fact that they're not doing well accentuates all of this stuff. It puts a big light on it, and it says, "Hey, look, we're also 15th. We're also about to finish the worst we've ever finished in our lives, like in our Premier League lives, like outside of getting relegated before the Premier League started.
Yeah.
So if we were doing well and winning games, and then there was like Champions League on the horizon, and like maybe you could look past some of this stuff, but it's
Well, you'd be able
I
to look past that a little bit more because there would be more. If we were doing well, more money would be incoming, so we wouldn't have to make the cuts.
but we'd still have the same. Like, see, that's telling, right?
Yeah.
If we were winning more, we wouldn't have to make the cuts. But like the part of doing the cuts is that too many people are doing the same job, right?
Yeah.
So like they need to be cut if too many people are doing the same job, regardless of if we have the money problems or not. And that's what got us in the situation that we're in now,
Mhm.
is that we were operating and winning and going to Champions League and having TV sponsorship and all this other stuff. And like still letting people have the same job, still letting things go on. Now we're just like, no, not doing that anymore. Hey, you're gonna have to pay for your coach to the FA Cup final. You're gonna have to do all this stuff, and it's like we
Yeah.
need to start with not playing these players that underperform and be paying them when they're at other clubs.
Yeah.
That's where it needs to start.
Yeah, Sanjeev saying after the job cuts, United will have a similar number of employees as Arsenal, apparently.
And Arsenal seems like that. But the thing is with Arsenal, they didn't leverage a debt to them get the club. The Cronkies didn't leverage a debt to buy their club.
Yeah.
They bought it because they had the money. And then they said, hey, we're gonna build you a new place. Like Highbury's cool, but we're gonna build you something new because we want this to be the biggest thing in London, even
Yeah.
though it's not anymore. But their stadium is really good. It's a nice stadium.
It's nice
Um,
to. It's yeah. Premier League wise, yeah, one of the biggest in London. It still falls short comparatively Wembley Stadium.
yeah, Wembley's still kind of like
90 plus thousand.
Yeah, it's still, but they're like the fact of the matter is they have a they have a relatively new
Yeah,
stadium in Stadium Life, right? And they could propose that for any time an event needs to be had. They own it, correct? The
yeah,
Cronkies own that stadium,
yeah. They own the
so
stadium. Yeah, they own the
that's the
land and
thing.
they own
And
the
then the
stadium.
area around it is not it's not too bad. So I
No,
don't know. I don't
I
know.
went past the stadium when I went to England in August. The train goes straight past it. The train stops right
Stops.
outside of Highbury.
Yep. I've been to to the Emirates. Um, when was that? 2018? I think it's 2018. I watched them play Brentford.
Yeah,
They beat Brentford 4-0 in the League Cup.
yeah.
Uh,
They didn't do too well.
No,
Annoyed the crap
no.
out of. But yeah, let's talk about the game this weekend. Man United 2, Everton 2. Being 2-0 down. Another disaster show for 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀. The fact that, Cheeto had to come on. But I will say congratulations to Amorim this week. He made the right substitutions. Came back from 2-0 down. Ashley Young, you're a disgrace. What I watched that penalty over and over again. Dude, what were you doing? Were you trying to dive off the top board and trying to get like 10 out of 10 for dive class? Because that was horrendous dive. And anyone that says that that's a penalty needs to really look at that game because it was horrendous. Um, Big up SSR Stateside Reds. What's up, Jeremy? Um, yeah, what was your take on it? I know you watched more of the game than I did.
Um, so like I was mad at Ashley Young at first, but then I'm like, that's just competitiveness, right?
Yeah,
That's like you're trying to win the game
yeah.
in the clutches of it. So you're doing anything at that point. So
But
I
against the
see
team
people
you
saying, man,
love,
this is Man United. We gave you a career. Then I'm like, dude, that guy's trying to win a football game at
yeah,
the end of the day for his employer. That's really what it is. So very low down and dirty. It was 100% a dive. I saw it. I said it in the chat. In my other football chat with the guys, I was like, "That's a dive." He's literally like, it's a Micah Richards level dive where he's like flicking his body into the and it's a literal dive. Like
yeah,
you don't get your shirt pulled like this and go forward. That doesn't even physically make sense. Like from a physics perspective, you don't get pulled backward and go forward. Now the Lick's leg was in the way,
yeah.
I want to say, but you don't go over like that. So that never a pen. And then we looked like we were going to score on the other end once that all got sorted out. We look dangerous. But the problem for me, what I had a problem with, is the fact that it took us 70 minutes. Yes, we look awful for 70. It took us 70 whole minutes. And Bruno once again, and I was cussing, bro. I'm like, bro, what is Bruno doing this game? He's nowhere to be found. And he's like, everybody's losing the ball. Bruno's losing it. And then Bruno comes out of nowhere, free kick into the corner. Beautiful free kick. Ends the free kick drought for us. And then we look lively. We look dangerous and attacking. The minute that they step off the gas, we step on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to, once again, another game where we don't have 90 minutes of football. This time we don't even have 30 minutes. We have 20 minutes and some stoppage time. This is sad. This is sad at how they get intense when they're down.
Yeah,
Be intense from minute one. Be intense from when the whistle blows. Eh, This the first goal, they're playing hot potato.
yeah,
Huh, huh, huh. And the guy smacks it into the ground. I think Beto smacks it into the ground, point blank range. Come on now. What is this? Harry Maguire had an absolute stinker that game. I love Harry Maguire. I'm back on the Harry Maguire train. But that was him and 𝗏 were bad. They were
mm,
bad. I think the only players I can say would be a pen if Young dived better, honestly. Probably. It would have been a pen if Harry Kane did it. If Harry Kane did it or anybody for City, they would have gave it to him. But the person I will say that can hold their head up this game is 𝗈𝗓.
okay.
𝗈𝗓 was looking lively. He was able to get the ball because Garnacho wasn't in. So he was able to get the ball. He was able to run at guys. He's making things happen, winning fouls for us all over the pitch. That guy, I think there's a player in there that he's physical. He's strong. He holds guys up. He stands them up. He could do anything. He's fast. I just think defensively he could be a bit better,
Mm-hmm.
but he's asked to do a lot. So that's going to come with time. Um, And Xerxes had a good where he stretch a play where he's pinging the ball here and there. He was pretty bad in that first half, and I
That
felt like
drive from his own half, though, that 50-yard drive where he took on like 5 Everton players was pretty good, and he looks like
yeah,
he's coming into his own at United.
he's growing, in the shirt. And but towards the end, there was a couple passes where I felt like he could have lofted the ball, and he was opting to shoot. So I think his decision making
Mhm.
needs to be a little bit better.
Yeah.
But Garnacho comes on, they take Casemiro off, get Casemiro out of this
Why is
club
Casemiro continuing to play at Man United?
because
I don't understand.
we don't really have. I don't think Amorim trusts these kids enough.
Yeah.
Right. And then, like, once again, he sees them way more than I do. So I don't think he trusts them enough at this stage to give two of them a run out for
Mhm.
30 minutes to rescue the game. So that's what I'm thinking it is. I got to trust in him because I trust in the manager, right? At this moment, until the guy comes in and he's the second coming of Paul Scholes. And I'm like, yo, Amron, what were you doing? Until then, I got to say, okay, he probably doesn't want to run out all these guys or whatever. So he has to play at Casemiro, who Casemiro is just done out here. And I wanted a Casemiro revenge tour. I wanted a Casemiro redemption tour so bad. It's not happening, bro. It's just not happening. Like he can't get up the pitch. His decision making is fucked. He's forcing everything. It's just I don't know. Kone and Cheeto are ready. I know Cheeto's ready. Cheeto's holding the ball up very well.
He
I'll
looked
say
nervous in the game, though. Do you not admit?
I ain't gonna say holding the ball. I think he doesn't know what's going on,
Yeah.
right? I think he doesn't know what's going on as far as like when the attacking triggers are in the game. Like he wanted to go ahead and press the back line, and like he doesn't have the chemistry with a lot of those guys passing it forward in
Mhm.
order to do so. So I think he's like he has to get chemistry with the midfield or just people playing it down on the touch lines so he can know when he can go forward. Because there's a couple times where he was like there, and I'm like, press the back
Yeah.
line. It's okay. We'll give you somebody can give you a ball over the top. I know Bruno will. He's good for that.
Yeah.
And he didn't know whether to do it, but he held the ball up a couple times. He didn't have that. There was some touches there. There was some moments where he looked composed. People are bigging it up crazy right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
I thought he looked nervous, to be honest with you. Like there was a few passes that kind of went astray, but he's a young kid. That's going to happen, and he's being forced into the team. Kone, I'd like to see more of, because I've seen more of him in the youth academy, and I think he looks really good. But he is a CDM, and we have 𝙈𝙊𝙍. So do you convert him to play next to 𝙈𝙊𝙍? But one thing I wanted to ask you is, you were talking about 𝙈𝙊𝙍, and you're giving credit to 𝙈𝙊𝙍. Does that make you think, okay, as bad as we are right now, I trust Amorim to go out and get a couple of players because 𝙈𝙊𝙍 looks pretty good to me, and he's one of the, he's got to be one of the, if not the first name on the sheet right now, other than Bruno. Hey man, your first signing's doing pretty well so far. We gotta trust this manager to get his own type of players. Imagine if we got a right wing back that can play as well as he does and get those balls in, and get a striker that can score. Or if Cheeto starts scoring some goals, I'm starting to trust this. I will say, as much as I am on the Harry Maguire train, we do need a backup at centre back, or at least one, maybe two, because Harry Maguire, as good as he can be, boy, can he make some mistakes.
no.
And it's kind of the concern, and it's this. I don't want him to kind of go back. The fans start booing him when he starts making a few mistakes, because this is what the second, third mistake in the last month that he's made that's cost us a goal. Remember the one that went over the top of his head? He misjudged it.
Yep.
So this is at least the second mistake that he's made in the last month that's led to a goal.
Yeah.
So for me, I don't think he's the future at Man United. I think he's going to be a solid backup next year. Just keep him for an extra year for that experience, being an ex-captain, knowing that back line. But boy, do we need some intensive players like 𝙈𝙊𝙍 next season. And
Lenny
that's what
Euro
Amorim
came
calls
on
for. He
too.
wants that intensity. He wants people running, like a ugarte. Ugarte is the most intense person on that field, dude. I think he's had a yellow card. Did he get a yellow card? I missed it. Did he get a yellow card this game?
I think he did get carded.
I think he's had a yellow card every single game that he's played for Manchester United, which is great as well. I want to see that passion. I want to see that, and it looks like 𝙈𝙊𝙍 has that passion, and a lot of the players that have been there for a while can learn from these two.
Yeah, Ugarte was big in that when that goal build up, but there was times where he was getting kind of played out and dragged out.
Yeah.
So he wasn't no favors were being done for him, but I still feel like I like him. I
Is he
like him.
getting the help in that midfield though? That's the thing.
No,
When
no,
Casemiro
no.
can't go up and back,
The midfield problem hasn't been solved. It hasn't been solved. And there was a time in that game I was like, this back three is not working right now. It's
yeah.
not because they were just running the channels. Everton two sides running the channels, easy goal.
Mhm.
Passed in. Like it's nothing. All you ask two strong, fast guys to run down these channels once you get the ball quick. Because Bruno lost the ball. Bruno lost the ball on that penalty, right?
Mhm.
That fake penalty that was that dive penalty. He lost it there and they immediately put us in a bad position defensively. And it's like that's all it takes because they're not getting helped out there. They're not compact out there. They're asked to be played so wide. So
Mhm.
it's like, and then you have Casemiro who you're essentially playing with 10 when you have him, 9 if you count Rasmus. So
I don't even
it
count Rasmus being on the pitch.
yeah,
I just
it's
don't.
I feel bad for him. I really do feel bad for him, but it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Let me get some of these comments in. Kone and Cheeto already. Jordan Long, shouts Jordan Long. I think Holland's so useless. Holland is so useless. Even at a less confident Cheeto is better. That's Sanjeev. First real game, of course, he's nervous, Jordan Long, but let's let them start growing now. Sanjeev's he's changing his last thing. And Amorim really likes Kukoni, left back, center back from Academy, 6'5", physical, fast, and good on the ball. I think you'll see him next year at some point. You're talking about Godwill.
Yeah.
I think that's his name. Godwill. Yeah, I'm hearing good things about all of these guys. That's the thing. It's just that I need to see them play in the first team. I just need to see them play. Like all of this academy stuff is fine. It's fine, bro. I'm if you're killing in the academy, God bless you, bro. But for how long was Angel Gomes killing it in
Yeah.
the academy? How long was Shola Shora T-Ray killing it in the academy? They're not here anymore. You know what I'm saying? Dan Gore's on loan, killing in the academy.
Yeah.
I gotta see them in the first team for me to be like, all right. Because I will admit I don't watch the academy as much as I should. I do tap into it sometimes, but once you put on the first team shirt and you're out there in the middle of Goodison Park and you got 30 minutes to play, 20 minutes to play, that's when the pressure's on, and that's when are you gonna fold or are you gonna the big men out there now. So I'm hoping. I hope all of y'all are right. I hope all of y'all are right. But I like to reserve some judgment until then. I think I'm gonna just say, hey, they're doing great in the academy.
Just starting a poll real quick for the game on Wednesday. So obviously we play Ipswich, and who starts up front on Wednesday, Hoyland or Cheeto? Poll.
Yeah, I think you got to give. I think you give. I still think you got to give Hoyland a half.
Yeah,
You give
I
him a half.
would start Cheeto and then I would bring Hoyland on. But
I'm-
as of right now, Hoyland hasn't scored 16 games.
I
That's
think it's just demoralizing to get your spot taken like that. I think he has to start the game at least,
well,
just for man management sake.
But is it like for me though? Sometimes, as cruel as it sounds, sometimes you need that though because he needs to understand that hey, you haven't. Not only are you fighting Cheeto right now for your place, you're fighting for your position at Manchester United. Because if you don't score between now and the end of, at least score at least more than 2 goals, I don't think Amorim wants to keep him around next year.
True, true. Which is also true, but I think benching him, like, I think there's a difference in giving him a start and
Mm-hmm.
then putting him down instead of like letting Cheeto start, right? I think if you give him the start and then let him play it out, and then it
Yeah.
maybe gets a goal, maybe not, then we could pull him. Then you could be like, all right, this is based on merit for this game here. As opposed to if you were to just not give him the start now, then it's like a bigger thing because this is somebody we're still going to be paying. He's still going to be here. So I feel like we need to go ahead and let Cheeto come in and do that 30 minutes, like 70,
Yeah.
20 minutes, 30 minutes still. Okay. And because he's not proving it either. Cheeto hasn't proven shit yet either.
He
And
hasn't,
Rasmus
no.
and Rasmus hasn't proved anything this season. He gave us 16 or so odd goals last season.
Yeah.
Right. he still needs to at least start, and then if he's doing bad, then pull him. Then you could say, all right, see, I'm only pulling you because you're doing bad right now. And I could bring on this kid here. If I just start him from the go, that just I just don't like
Yeah, but
that.
Amorim could sit him down and say, "Hey, look, we're playing Ipswich. We're in the relegation zone. I would like to give Cheeto a start here. I'm gonna bring you on at the 65th minute. Tell him beforehand, like, I'm gonna bring you on in the 65th minute, you know, and then to get your confidence up. We can talk like that. You know what I mean? So, I still don't think Cheeto's. I don't think any of these strikers are going to be the main striker next year. I don't. I honestly think we go out and I think our biggest spend is going to be on a striker.
What difference is it if Cheeto does now, or if a summer transfer comes in and takes his spot then? Well, if a summer transfer comes in and takes his spot, then it's purely because he's doing well at the moment.
Yeah.
We all know Rasmus is doing bad. To bench him at this moment for a kid younger than him in the academy that hasn't done anything, it's kind of like it does something up here. So I feel like let him start the game, let him get a feel for the game. If he doesn't, then you could say, all right, Cheeto, come in, and because he knows right then and there, I didn't do well in this game, as opposed to, oh, Cheeto starts the game. You know how big that is? Do you know how huge that is? At 17 years old, you're starting the game now over the guy that scored 16 goals last season. That's a mind fuck for both players. So I feel like he has to be careful in that if we're still going to invest what we're investing in Rasmus. Because if Rasmus is a lost cause, then you could do this. If you don't care, you could do this. If he's a lost cause, you don't give a damn what happens to him, fine. But if you still want to have some faith in him, you let him start this game and you let him play himself into some form. And that's sometimes you need to do that. So we watched Mbappe struggle this first season. People are saying he's done, he's this, he's that. He has 27 goals in February. Sometimes people have to struggle. That's just what it is. But you can't just give up on them as you got to ride it out. And the striker is one of those it's a rhythm position.
Normally I would agree with you if you didn't have a -7 goal difference or whatever we have, a -5, -7. Normally I would agree with you. But when we can't score, and he hasn't scored in 16 games, how much more of a knock is it gonna I think
how much worse can it get?
Yeah, I just think some man management is kind of needed there for me. Maybe take him aside and say, hey, look, let's start Cheeto, let's work on your form. But yes, benching someone is detrimental. It could be up in his head, but if you have the right man manager who's like, hey, look, we're gonna start Cheeto now, and we're gonna work on stuff with you one-on-one. I think that could be the difference between being in someone's head. Just say, hey, we're gonna work on things. So for me, as of right, the polling right now, 80% say Cheeto starts on Wednesday over 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀.
Reactionaries.
It is. But we're in a time where we're dying for goals, and I can understand.
The league is over. I don't now. We're gonna panic. We're gonna start doing this stuff. The league's over. The league is done. It's done. We're not getting relegated. West Ham did us a little favor. Wolves, Ipswich, all of them. We're not getting relegated. That's not happening.
No,
okay?
But we are playing someone in the relegation zone on Wednesday that we need to win this game. I think winning this game really cements we're not getting relegated. But it's also one of those games that we need to come out and just for confidence in the team, beat this team 2-3-0, not concede, and just beat this team. I mean, it just there's gonna be a game. I don't know when it is, whether it's this season, whether it's next season. At some point, we're gonna thrash somebody, and at that point, it's going to start building confidence. But then again, I've said that in the past. We've gone on that whole of pretty much January where we only lost one game, and now look where we're at. So I don't know how much more confidence these players need to, be done. But yeah, and Jordan's saying we're desperate for anything positive right now out of Man United, and I don't play down teams like Ipswich anymore. I've said this a lot for a long time now on this show that we're not the Man United of old, and we can't downplay any team. You know,
The thing is, when we're gonna play a team like Ipswich that's gonna let us have the ball, we'll
yeah,
say, okay, y'all have the ball, and that's when we struggle. We struggle when we have it because we don't have anybody that can put it in the net. And then teams that we can go after, we start to do Liverpool, Arsenal, like teams like that where we can go after them because they're
they
trying
play
to get
the
the
high
ball at the
line.
same time. Yeah, we're able to do that, right? But the teams that are like, oh, low block, okay, fine, you keep it. We'll hit you on the break. We'll wait for you to make a mistake. We'll press you in 7-second intervals. Like, all right, cool. We're okay with you having it. We had it. We had it a lot during with Everton. We had it a good bit.
Yeah,
Everton's like, oh, we're just gonna put 10 back. There was a time where we were all running back, and we had a break going on the right hand side, and Everton didn't even run after the ball. They just ran back to their spot. They just ran back to their shape and stayed there. And the shape was 2 banks of 5, and that's it. It wasn't like man. It was bank 5, keeper. That's it.
one of the
And
things I've noticed.
they did it before we even got to the halfway line.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed of the last couple of weeks, well, since Amorim's come in, really, is we just don't have anybody in the box. Like when we're going down, like Dorgu's going down or Garnacho's going down, and as much shit as we do like to give Garnacho, you know, he is passing more, but there's just nobody there to pass to. Now that's on the players. That's like Amorim, like he needs. That's what I was going back to earlier with the intensity and the players being needing to be fit and be able to non-stop run is they need to get up. But these players seem that right now they're so lacking in confidence. They don't want to go up in case the other team counterattack. And that's causing us problems of not being able to score because we're just scared to be in their box in case they counterattack.
A few of them were walking. They were walking against Everton. Like Bruno got up and started walking. Like he's been doing that a little lately now. And like, I don't like to jump on the Bruno train because regardless of how Bruno is in the game, he's a volume player. He's going to do a bunch of things wrong. He's going to give up the ball a lot. And then he's going to score you that goal that you need 70% of the time. And he's going to rescue your point.
For me, a month and a half ago, they had the excuse of being tired. They've barely played any games in the last couple of weeks. There's no, like, this is the first midweek game in what, 3 weeks? There's no excuse for being tired now. You've got the entire week off. You go into training 2 to 3 hours a day. You've got the rest of the day off. You're not looking after your body and you're tired now. That's on you. There's nothing else that, you know, the manager can do at this point. It's on you. You need to be starting looking after your body a little bit better. Jordan, we did it with Wolves and Bournemouth in December. Palace, Everton, and Leicester could have been losses. Palace was. We consistently don't show up for games. Yeah.
Or we show up for a half.
Yeah. And I don't understand it for these players because they must know that Amorim's going to bring in 4 to 5 players in the summer. They must know that players are coming in and they got to be fighting for their place. So I just don't understand it. Like if I was playing for Man United and I wasn't playing well and a new manager came in who I know is going to buy players to fit his system, I'm going to be like, you know, whatever. But one of the, you know, I'm going to play harder. But one of the things that kind of bugs me is he came in and judged Rashford for not training and not playing so well. These players are not playing well. I don't care how you're training now. You're not playing well. But to be fair to him, there's no one else he can change it with. It kind of, that's the only thing that's annoying me with Amorim is like, okay, you came in and you judge Rashford for not training well, not having the right attitude. Okay, these players might have the right attitude and I train well, but they're not performing against teams on the pitch. And no disrespect to Ipswich and no disrespect to Southampton. Our players are better than their players. They are. I'm not saying our club's bigger. Our players are better than theirs.
I don't even know that to be true anymore.
I think they are. Like
that's what Sir Alex used to say. Where you are in the table is your level, right?
Yeah.
We might be just as good as they are. Yeah. That might be our level. Our level is just as good as them because who do we get smacked by? The top 6. We've been smacked by all of them respectively. Yeah. Right? And so like, who's our level? Who's beaten us twice this season? Spurs are right there with us and they smoked us 2 times.
Yeah. We've beat City.
3 times.
We've drew with Liverpool.
And we have to see
we
them
drew with
again.
Arsenal, but that was an FA Cup game.
Yeah.
That's another one because that's coming up in a couple of weeks.
We
We've
have
got
to see
Arsenal
them
again in a
again.
couple of weeks.
Yep.
So the mentality of the team is embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Like
I want to go back on the Arsenal thing. I mean, on the Rashford thing, though.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, like, you look at what Rashford is doing now at Aston Villa, and he's doing everything Amorim wanted him to do.
Yeah.
Right? Aston Villa has better players than we do. 100% a better team than we do on paper. And, like, that's where you're like, hey, if I was a Man United player, I would play better, or I'd play. It's like they can't play better because a lot of them are bad, and they're not fitting this system. They're just bad. These players are the problem. Before I even look at Amorim, I'm still thinking we need to move these players on. A lot of them, we got a lot of them wrong too.
Some are screwed as badly.
Yeah, we got a lot of them wrong too. Like, it's easy to say, like, I don't know if we got Mazraoui wrong, but Mazraoui at the beginning of the season was looking like player of the season, could play any position, great. Now it's like I don't know if I want him there. Like, the tide has changed a little bit, but like.
Did he play right back this weekend? Right wing, right back, right centre back. Okay, yeah, because I heard that when Lenny came on, we played better.
Exponentially, it was completely better, better, more dangerous. Lenny Euro is more decisive with the ball, but like, I'm not saying he's better than Mazraoui. I'm just saying, like, yeah, we have talent. They want money and the glory for playing Man United, but they want to make the sacrifices necessary to be the best of the best. I don't know that. I don't know them. And I feel like I don't like to make these kind of judgments on players because I don't know them. I will just say that these guys aren't good enough based on what I've seen. I don't think that I think we're like one step above Ipswich, if anything.
I still have my bet that I put the bet on. I still think we finish in the top 5 now.
I can't. The thing is with bets is like I have to see something to make me feel that way.
The only reason I feel that way is
I don't see anything.
Just going off the past with Amorim. This is just a hunch. It's just a hunch.
In a different
first season at Sporting, they were terrible. He got rid of the players that he didn't want. These high. It's like for like what he's doing at Man United right now. What he did at Sporting. He came in. He got rid of all the players that he didn't think were good enough for his system. The people that were on the big money, brought in younger, better talent, and in his second season, he won the league.
Did he? So here's a question with that. Where did he finish that first bad season? Right? That's the first question, right? Because I need to know how bad they were, right? The second thing is I have to give a little bit of credence to, or I have to give a little bit of context rather for what league they're in, right? Yeah. Where you could play you could play that the way that we're playing now. I mean, or the style or that we're playing now, and it'd be effective. Not too many teams in our league play this way. So these guys are completely learning something new. And did he have an entire season to teach them after, like, it was the first season, an entire season? See, he's coming in after 10 games when we're in a losing position. But we're completely out of it.
In that league.
So his worst season at that was 4th.
Yeah, but if you take the comparison for what goes, so I'm not saying that league's bad, but that they have good teams, but once those teams kind of pass, they kind of drop off more substantially than the Premier League does. So for me, it's kind of 4th. So if United was in that league,
there's what, like 15th here, is what you're saying?
Sorry.
So 4th here is like
no, like I would say 5th and 6th. There is more like 15th here. Yeah, I would compare that.
That's crazy.
Just the drop off in the, like, because you always see, it's like looking at the Spanish league or looking at the German league or the French league. If you look at the last 10 years of amount of teams that have won that league, you're talking 3 max. You know,
look at the last 10 years of ours. Who's won in the last 10 years? 5 teams.
Well, yeah.
5 teams.
Yeah.
And one won it 4 times in a bounce.
Yeah. But that's it. That team also dominated Europe for how long, you know?
In the midst of those 10 years, Real Madrid won it 5 times.
Well, Real Madrid it's just their trophy. How many times have we, dude? No matter who Real Madrid play in the final, I will bet on Real Madrid to win that game. It's just
I'm just
for
saying.
some reason, like in the Champions League, they're just that good. You know, I think that they'll win it this year. I really do. I think they'll win it again this year.
I just feel like that throws the because people like to bring that parity argument as if like the Premier League has that much parity. We don't.
And let's not forget what he had to go through at Sporting too. You know, the fans stormed the dressing room and threatened to kill the players at Sporting. So he had to deal with that too, and he still managed to turn it around once he got his players in the summer and still went from 4th to 1st. Now, I'm not saying we're going to win the league next year because we're not. I just think if we can get 5 players for him, I think we finish in the top 5. Top 5. I think we finish 5th. I don't think we'd finish top 4. But I think we finish 5th next year if you can give him the 5 players and the summer to train with these players.
I don't know. I'm not touching it. I'm just gonna wait until I get the players, and I'm gonna wait till I see them play because we could get the players and they suck. He could pick wrong, you know. So, hey, it's your money. It's your money. It's your money. Benfica, Sporting Porto, and Braga. The rest are bottom 5 in Premier League.
Yeah, I
don't like that talk, man. I don't like that because it's a certain amount of arrogance that goes with that. Like, yeah, they're not as good as this team and that team and this. And
but we like to be like. You gotta have that.
His confidence in his arrogance.
Yeah,
right.
There's a fine line between them.
Yeah, there's arrogance that like the rest of those teams are bottom 5 in Premier League. That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. I just think that because we do it with France, we do it with all these teams all the time, and it's like, but yeah, there's a reason why, because we steal all their players. Like we steal every good player they have, so they can't be good, right?
With summer sales from sell-on clauses, we'll actually have more to play with than you'd think. Yeah, we will. We're not just that. Also, you know, you're talking about the new financial year in June, so we'll have more money to spend. Looking back on it, you know, we only signed 1 player in January, but I'm willing to, at this point, with the season already lost anyway, I'm willing to take that hit now. The more I think about it in January and get 1 player and be able to buy more in the summertime. That's just me. I know you wanted to do a segment with in the future with players that are on loan. Do you want to talk about those right now, like at the end of the show here? No, Anthony got sent off this weekend.
Yeah, did he score again, or he had a
No, he got an assist, but he's gonna miss the next 3 games. So
I just gotta say, you know, with Rashford still remaining in the Premier League and performing well as opposed to like Sancho, it shows there's something going on at United.
Yeah,
right?
But Sancho's playing horribly.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Rashford's playing pretty decent now. It's too small of a sample size to give him any kind of definitive answer. But right now, he's showing the fight, the grit, and he's like getting the ball in great positions, and like he's going at guys and beating guys. Right?
Yeah.
He almost had a free kick made. He had 2 assists the last game. Like, it's just he's going at people and making things happen. And it's like we were asking him to do that here.
Yeah.
And he just couldn't do it. So it just goes back to show you with the culture at Man United, right? The culture at Man United took a player that clearly could play. He's doing it for a whole nother team that's better than ours.
Yeah.
Right. So are we just that bad, or is the culture that's that bad? I think we're just that bad. I think we just suck that bad. I think we are terrible when a guy can go to a whole nother team in the same league. Yeah. This isn't him going to 𝗕𝙁𝙊𝙍, and then we're like, oh, well, it's La Liga. So, of course, he's scoring. And it's like, okay. Well, Sancho's not doing it Sancho never did it. He didn't do it for us. He didn't do it back when he went back to Dortmund, and he's not doing it now. But Rashford leaves to the only other team he's ever played for is Aston Villa now. And he's doing really well. Still too early to tell. Yeah. But I'm gonna keep an eye on that. Dan Gore, I haven't got to see him. He's at Rotherham, and what's my boy Wheatley is at Walsall. So I'm looking at them now.
Yeah, for me though, I think it's the culture, and the reason I think it's the culture rather than we that bad, it's because he didn't he's played like this under 3-4 different managers.
That's part of the problem.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That's why for me it's like we're not that bad. I think it's just a culture thing at Man United right now. Confidence, culture of just where we're at, and I honestly don't think the news surrounding Man United and the layoffs and how much money we're in debt is helping helping these players either. You know, I'm not saying it's a large factor, but it's going to be a small factor in them. They're like, what's going on at Man United? Are we going to get lose our jobs in the summer? Like, are we being sold? So there is a small factor in there of that. Mr. Green, I didn't see your email.
How if you worked at a job and you guys just keep switching managers and you have to keep doing something new, because everybody likes to do this. Like, if I worked at a job, okay, so if I worked at a job and we kept switching managers every year or every
I've been at my job since June and I've had 4 different managers. So.
Right, and like, let's say this manager says he wants something done this way, and then this manager comes in and he wants you to do it this way, but you're used to doing it this way, and then the third manager comes in and he's like, yo, I want you to do it this way.
Yeah,
it's like, that's culture, right? That's
yeah.
culture. That's like different cultures consistently changing, different pedigrees, styles of play, philosophies. It's a lot to deal with. It's terrible.
Yeah.
It's terrible there. So like, I think that now we're seeing like all these players apparently tearing it up when they leave. It's like, how bad are we?
Yeah, and that's why I don't think we fire as bad as we finished this season. I don't see us firing Amorim at all.
I don't think they're behind him.
Yeah, I think they're going to be beyond. I think the only way that they're not behind him is if they give him 4 or 5 players and we're still playing like this time next year. I think then a question mark starts to become. But yeah, I think we're fully behind him. I did want to touch on the fact that we got that all important Spanish bogey team in the next round of Europa League. And I always say that's because we always lose to Spanish teams in European competition.
11th in La Liga right now.
Yeah, but I remember a couple of years ago a team being around 10th in the La Liga, and we still lost. It's just one of those bogey things, man. Like it's like Wolves. For those, how many years did we lose to Wolves? Well, Tottenham right now. Tottenham's our bogey team. And
I know who to blame for that loss.
Who?
David De Gea. David De Gea is the reason we lost.
I'm never going to blame a goalie for missing a penalty.
Their goalie made it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I wouldn't have blamed him. I wouldn't have blamed their goalie if he'd missed it either.
But he made it. Not if.
Yeah.
He made it.
The only problem that I will give, with David De Gea is he was just terrible at saving penalties. He just couldn't save them. He's and it's shocking that he couldn't save a penalty because he was so good at reactionary saves from 2 yards out that he just couldn't save a freaking penalty.
Saving them now. Apparently, and
he saved 2 in one game.
Yeah. The thing is like, I don't blame him for not. You have to be practicing making them because you're more than likely going to be in a position where you might need to win the game.
Yeah.
Like that's way more on the card than you making a penalty stop that it might get down to you having to take one. Like, and nobody's mad at you if you can't save them because it's like, it's a lottery, but if you can't make it when you need it, oh,
dude, as an England fan, I know all too well what penalties feel like, dude. I know all too well what penalties feel like, Man United. Fucking Gareth Southgate cost us the Euros in '96 with a penalty miss against Germany. Dude, I've seen way too many penalties being saved. Mr. Green says, sorry, boys, been working lots. No, that's cool, man. Just let us know when you want to come on. Just shoot us a message, an email.
Or any of y'all, anybody that's in. Jordan, would love to have you on. Thanks for participating tonight.
He's part of the Pittsburgh Reds.
Yep. We talked before.
Yep. That's all I've got for tonight. Anything you want to add?
I
Do you
guess we
want, in
got.
case you're not on tomorrow, do you want to do your score prediction?
I'll be on tomorrow. I don't have study group tomorrow, so I'll be on. So I could wait. But what I will say is, thanks for everybody. I know we're changing our stuff, but thanks for everybody for dropping in. Those who are watching now, those who are watching in future, we get a lot of that too. And just make sure to like, subscribe, share the ting, say something to your friends about it. We love to have y'all on, your friends on, and we're building this community once again.
Absolutely. Well, that's another episode of the now Stateside Reds, and we will see you tomorrow night. And then stay on for a split second, Mikey. I got something to ask you. But other than that, everyone else, peace out.
Later. Coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Atlanta.